I watched a pair of cardinals today. The hen and cock were never far apart. It's said they're seldom seen another way, despite all reasoning that warms my heart. Now any male chimpanzee, so I've heard, obtains what sex he can without regard for whom he had before, unlike the bird, who with his mate brings cheer to my backyard. So why is it that I do not possess the nature of our closer relative? I envy his uncurbed licentiousness, and yet I'm like the finch in how I live. Not only do I act that way, I'm proud to be devoted to my only bride. Fidelity is what we say aloud. A lapse therein is something we must hide. If like a chimp I'd be so much more free, with women I would share no more than fun. I would not take responsibility for what might happen after I am done. Chimpanzees, one might say, don't have our brains. They haven't near as much to learn, at least. A mother ape by instinct merely trains her young to gather food just like a beast. Our reptitudes increase as knowledge grows. We gain a big advantage when we're taught. We think, invent, establish, and propose that extra parents handy and see not. Okay, that's fine so far. We'll say a dad's behavior is adaptive, that's resolved. But not too long ago, all men were cads. How rapidly have families evolved? Besides the fatherhood were ours innate, the men not brought up right would still behave a lot more like the rest, whose chosen fate is kin to volunteering as a slave. That's not to say I should point out that men are under women's orders, that's too far. It just seems rather self-defeating when considering what our genetics are. Could modified selection be the key? Some values might have made their holders act in ways that gave the holders' progeny a start in life that other children lacked. Let's take a value then down to its core. What mechanism causes one to feel that something's right and others even more? Could it be tangible? Could it be real? Well, if it is, we'd find it in our heads. Arrangements of the nerve cells, things like that. A pattern that repeats with varied threads, depending on the neural habitat. A pattern that's translated into speech or other media the pattern finds. And as we argue, entertain, and teach, we spread these patterns to each other's minds. What are these minds that's modeled by these molds? The parts of organisms that have grown from blueprints, who wrote them, who drew the folds, through which words pass as we play telephone. Some scientists are now describing genes as patterns that maintain themselves through time by changing raw materials to machines that pass them on a useful paradigm. There might be other levels of that game, as certain kinds of thinking have been thought to use the human mind to stay the same. Perhaps this is the is that makes the ought. I'll leave it up to greater minds than mine to tell us why our genes cooperate. We'd have to view the whole ancestral line, a path I'm not prepared to navigate. So what I'd like to do today instead is follow one of these things for a while. To see the possibilities ahead, we'll skip the past and turn another dial.